You got the joystick.
Are you going to give that back to the vice chair before the meeting starts?
Yes.
You got the joystick.
Okay.
Who was that? Okay, I can't even think of that group.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
No, it's a music. It was a group out that talked about had a song about the joystick. It was a good dance party song back in the day.
Oh. Now,
Back
well,
in the day.
whose day? Your day or my day?
I
Your
didn't
day
think
or my
about it until Russell started smiling. He's still smiling.
The dance band.
Dance band, sure was. Oh, I should have. Yep. I forgot we got our resident music expert on the staff.
Yeah, you got the man in the house. All right, I have 6 o'clock. Enough of this foolishness.
We're live.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Tuesday, March the 23rd City Council meeting. I now call this meeting to order. Our Pledge of Allegiance and invocation tonight, should he desire, will be by Councilman Anthony Byrd.
Ready? Okay. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and move the agenda, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, under special presentations this afternoon, Councilwoman Coonrod would like to recognize someone that will be leaving us here just in a couple of days.
Thank you, Chair. It's Rochelle on here.
I'm not seeing her name, ma'am.
Oh, man. Well, I just wanted to acknowledge her. Friday will be her last day with the city government, and just wanted to acknowledge her and the great things that she's done working here.
All right. Thank you very much. Councilman Byrd.
Thank you, Chair. Man, Coonrod, you broke my heart. Rochelle, we love you. You're an amazing person. You helped me out tremendously. Always been there. And I just want to thank you for just being a breath of fresh air and such a positive young lady. Awesome. I'm going to miss you. Have a great journey, sister. I know you're going to do great things.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. Now we go to our minutes. Could I have a motion on the minutes, please?
Motion approved.
Second.
All right. We have a motion on the floor to approve our minutes with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Leffert,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs,
She's booting up. Carol,
What?
say yes.
We're approving the
I'm
minutes.
sorry, I didn't hear. What?
We're approving the minutes, Councilwoman.
Oh, yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
the ayes have it. Now we move into your order of business. Under ordinances final reading, we have 2 items. Madam Clerk, let's take them together if I hear no objection from the council. Items 5A and B.
Item A, an ordinance closing and abandoning a sanitary sewer easement located in the 1300 block of Anderson Avenue as detailed on the attached map. Item B, an ordinance closing and abandoning a storm drain easement located in the 1300 block of Anderson Avenue as detailed on the attached map.
Councilwoman Coonrod.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 5A and B with a proper second. Any questions or comments before we vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
so moved. Now we move into ordinances, first reading under Public Works and Transportation. Madam Clerk, I'd like to take 6A and B if there are no objection from the council. Councilman Mitchell, is that a hand to make a motion or in opposition?
I'll be making a motion here
Okay.
just in a minute.
All right, sir. Items A and B, ma'am.
Item A, an ordinance closing and abandoning a sanitary sewer easement located in the 400 block of Druid Lane, 405, 407, 411, 415, 419, and 423, as detailed on the attached map. Item B, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 24, Article 14, Section 24502, relating to speed on through streets.
Councilman Mitchell.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 6A and B with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Byrd,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
motion carries 9-0. Now we move into resolutions under Economic and Community Development. Madam Clerk, would you please read 7A, B, C, D, and E if there are no objections from the council? All right,
Item A resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a premises use agreement with Lookout Valley Recreational Association in substantially the form attached for the use of the athletic fields and buildings located at 370 Warren Place, tax map number 144JB008 for a term of 4 years at the annual fee of $1. Item B, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to award $64,000 in home program funding to Tower Construction to assist in the rehabilitation of an affordable two-family rental located at 1308 Buckley Street. Item C, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to enter into an agreement with the Chattanooga Area Regional Council of Governments, CARCOG, for the management of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Brownfields Revolving Loan Fund, RLF, for a 2-year term beginning on May 1, 2021. Item D, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to extend the current agreement with Bright Bridge, Inc. for the management of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Brownsfield Revolving Loan Fund, RLF, for 30 days beginning on April 1, 2021 and ending on April 30, 2021. And item E, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Economic and Community Development to enter into an agreement with the Lodge of Chattanooga LLC, Budgetel, for non-congregate COVID-19 related housing and security services for up to 100 households currently experiencing homelessness for a 90-day period beginning March 13, 2021 and ending June 12, 2021, with an option to extend the agreement if funds are expended for an additional 90-day period for a FEMA reimbursable amount not to exceed $400,000.
Councilman Oglesby, followed by Councilwoman Coonrod.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for approval.
Before I second, Bert, about the hotel, that's an example of going outside the process today, but second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes.
9 yeses.
Motion to approve items 7A, B, C, D, and E carries. Now, Madam Clerk, let's move down to 7F and G.
Item F, a resolution confirming the mayor's reappointment of Eddie Holmes to the Chattanooga Housing Authority. Item G, a resolution confirming the mayor's reappointments of Katie Ryan Smith and Aon Miller to the General Pension Board.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
so moved. Now, Madam Clerk, if you would, let's read 7H, I, J, and K, if there are no objection from the council. Okay,
Item H, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Public Works to approve change order number 1 final for Dusty Greer Roofing, Inc. of Monroe, Georgia, relative to contract number Y190212201, replacement roofing system for Tyner YFD Center for an increased amount of $4,400 to release the remaining contingency amount of $12,100 for a revised contract amount of $170,650. Item I, a resolution authorizing an on-call blanket contract for professional surveying services for 4 years, for year 4 of a 4-year term, contract number 1700291 with the following firms: 1, Arcadis US Inc., 2, ASA Engineering and Consulting Inc., 3, Civic Engineering and Information Technologies Inc., 4, Earthworks LLC, 5, the RLS Group Inc., 6, S and ME Inc., and 7, Vaughn and Melton Consulting Engineers Inc., based on the services categories of the professional surveying services that each consultant qualified for. The renewal of the 7 one-year blanket contracts for professional services, estimated at $400,000 total annually for all 7 professional firms for use by all departments. Item J, a resolution authorizing payment to TVA for administrative costs relative to the pending acquisition of tax parcel number 128BC006 for a new law enforcement training center to replace the current facility slated for eventual transfer to the U.S. Park Service to become part of the Moccasin Bend National Archaeological District for an amount not to exceed $100,000. Item K, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement for utility construction and relocation as part of a 3rd and 4th Street project with the Electric Power Board of Chattanooga, substantially the form attached, with the city's contribution of 50% of the total cost not to exceed $1 million.
Councilman Gilbert.
Chair, before I say yay for this, can Mr. Payne come out and explain one more time to individual constituents that was not at our 3:30 meeting, so they know what we're voting on?
I think we did discuss that at 3. We did discuss that at 3:30. Mr. Vice Chair, would you bring in Bill Payne, please?
Good evening, council.
Mr. Payne?
Yes.
Give us a little explanation of item J.
Yes, sir. Item J is a resolution to authorize payment for some outstanding invoices to TVA for administrative costs and due diligence costs related to environmental services that TVA is performing as part of the city's look into the possibility of acquiring this property. But that is all it is for, is just for those administrative and due diligence costs.
Okay.
Chair, I'll move to approve.
All right, Councilwoman Burrs.
Second.
All right, before we take a roll call vote, we do have a motion on the floor. Mr. Vice Chair, would you excuse our guest, please? Well, he's not going anywhere. There he goes.
He's being stubborn.
We have a motion on the floor to approve item 7H, I, J, and K with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
the ayes have it. We now move into purchases. Council, if you would pull up your purchases for this afternoon as we bring Mr. Salmons in. Is he being stubborn too, Vice Chair?
It's just, I don't know what's going on. Hang on, let me try again. I think that worked. There we go.
Yeah, there he comes. And good evening, Mr. Salmons.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of council. We have a few purchases for your approval this evening, starting with our citywide service division of Public Works. We have the purchase of trees being awarded to Hidden Valley Nursery LLC, Select Trees Enterprises, and River Rock Nursery for an estimated annual cost of $100,000. Next, from our Waste Resource Division of Public Works, we have the purchase of a motor control center being awarded to Gexpro for an estimated annual cost of $66,018.36. Also from the Waste Resource Division, we have an increase request for overhead door annual maintenance and repair services being paid to Certified Door and Dock Services LLC. The increase of $15,000 for a total annual estimated spend of $76,000. This increase was to cover services needed prior to the expiration of this contract. And last, we have from Public Works, propane service at the landfill being awarded to Suburban Propane for an estimated annual cost of $50,000. And that concludes the purchases for this evening.
Thank you, sir. What's the pleasure of the council?
Move approval. Second.
A motion on the floor to approve tonight's purchases with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Muted.
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Byrd,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
so moved. And I think Mr. Salmons has already been excused, hasn't he? All right, moving now to committee reports. I will take them as I see them on the screen. Councilman Ledford,
No report, sir.
Vice Chair Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a number of discussions this afternoon about pending legislation. And I believe I wanted to confirm, did we decide that we would meet next week and discuss legislation, or was that also put off? I know there was another piece that we were not going to discuss.
Well, I had requested my resolution be put in legislative committee for next week.
Well, sir, then we're going to hear your resolution in legislative committee next week.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Coonrod.
Youth and Family Development, we're gonna have a committee meeting on next Tuesday.
All right, very well. Councilman Byrd,
No report.
Councilman Oglesby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next week, we will have an Economic and Community Development Committee meeting where we will review policies surrounding the waiver of fees for outdoor spaces owned by the city.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting today, and we will again in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Councilman Gilbert.
No report.
Councilwoman Byrd.
No report.
Very well, thank you. Moving now to other business. We do have a couple of appointments and one nomination this afternoon for the Health, Education, and Housing Board.
Yes, once again, thank you, Mr. Chair, Council. today, and this is actually a District 7, 8, and 9 appointment. I would like to, nomination. I would like to nominate Alexa LaBeouf to the Health, Education, and Housing Facility Board. I've known Alexa for quite some time, and she has the passion, the enthusiasm, and the experience to really bring value to this board. So with that being said, I move for approval of Alexa LaBeouf to this particular board.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for this nomination with a proper second. Madam Clerk, before we vote, I want to make clear it has District 6, but this will be a District 7 representative. Is that correct, Councilman Oglesby?
That is correct.
Okay. Madam Clerk, if you'd make that note. All right, motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Burrs,
Yes.
Councilman Byrd,
Yes.
Councilwoman Coonrod,
Yes.
Councilman Gilbert,
Yes.
Councilman Ledford,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Oglesby,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Henderson,
Yes,
9 yeses.
sir, the ayes have it.
Thank you, Council.
You still have the floor.
Thank you. This is an appointment, and I would like to appoint Ms. Beatrice Conley to the Community Development Advisory Board representing District 7.
Very well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, Mr. Attorney, I think you're up next.
Yes, sir. Just wanting to announce that Mr. Kelly and I in the city attorney's office have recommended the settlement of a case involving an injury at Coolidge Park here of a minor. For the minor and his mother, it will be presented to the court, and the total amount of that settlement will be in the amount of $60,000. That's above my limit. I wanted to make sure I produce that to the court and to this body, and at least let you know it will have to get the approval of the court as well whenever we do that.
Okay, at this time, we don't need to take any action. Is that correct?
Not unless you disagree at this point based upon our previous presentation.
Okay. I'm not hearing any objections, so thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We now move to recognitions of persons wishing to address the council at this time. Mr. Vice Chair, do we have any people registered to speak this afternoon?
We do have a few, sir.
All right, very well. Mr. Attorney, if you would read the rules, I would ask those that are in attendance that would like to speak at this time, would you please click on the raise hand button on your computer? Let us know that you'd like to speak. Mr. Attorney, if you'd read the rules.
Yes, sir. Let me get my rules back up here. For some reason, I lost them just a second ago. Let's see. At this point in time, we are at the end of the council agenda, and the chair will recognize any individuals that wish to speak at this point in time in accordance with the council's rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can be recognized after they provide their name and council district before addressing to the council. No person can have more than 3 minutes to speak, and each speaker may address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority, and not upon matters which are under the authority of other governmental bodies or agencies. And the speaker cannot be permitted to use any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. Address your comments to the council as a whole and not make comments directed towards any individual council members. Having read those rules to you, please go ahead.
All right, Mr. Vice Chair, would you bring in Ms. Helen Burns Sharp? I see your hand. If you would give us your district number, you may proceed.
I will. So my name is Helen Burns Sharp. Hello, council. Happy spring to you. I live at 129 Walnut Street in District 7. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My topic is the steep slope ordinance that's on your next week's agenda. As currently written, it would only apply to slopes of 33% or greater. Here's a quick story. For 18 years, I was planning director for a mid-sized city in Oregon. The original city was on the south side of the Willamette River and relatively flat. During my tenure, there was a large voter-approved annexation on the north side of the river. That area was anything but flat. So we knew we needed hillside development standards to regulate the development of potentially hazardous terrain, to minimize public and private losses due to earth movement hazards, and to minimize erosion and related environmental damage. Planning staff checked with other cities in the Willamette Valley to determine best practices. The first step was to determine the slope threshold where the regulations would apply. Every city we surveyed had set its minimum threshold at no higher than 16%. Remember, your draft ordinance currently sets it at 33%, which is more than twice as steep. One Oregon zoning ordinance has a little graphic that I think is interesting, where they sort of define based on slope. They have some definitions, and they say 16 to 20% is a hillside, 21% to 25% is a steep hillside, 26% to 30% is a very steep hillside, and 31% and up is a mountainside. The way your ordinance is currently drafted, it would not apply in places like North Chattanooga, which used to be known as Hill City. It would only apply to mountainsides. What's the point of having a regulation if it doesn't address the problems we are experiencing? Please lower the slope threshold in your ordinance to between 16 and 20%. The home builders say that regulations may raise the cost of development in certain areas and discourage development. But most other cities our size have good hillside regulations and are experiencing development. Please consider the cost of not having responsible regulations. That cost is borne by adjoining property owners, future homeowners, neighbors, and future generations. We're fortunate to live in such a beautiful area. Our topography contributes to that. Let's not screw it up. The Home Builders Association has paid staff, lobbyists, and political action committees. We, the public, are totally dependent on you, the council, to represent our interest, which is the public interest. We're counting on you to do the right thing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, is there anyone else in attendance tonight that would like to speak? Would you please raise your hand at this time if you have registered? Mr. Biden, oh, there we go. I wonder what. Council, I am seeing no other hands raised at this time. What's the pleasure of the council?
Move we adjourn.
So moved. We are adjourned. We will
Good week.
see everyone.